chocolate chip cookies. And the recipe that we're going to be using is from Nestle's Toll House Cookies. But we're actually not going to use their Toll House cookies morsels. We're going to use Hershey's because I actually like Hershey's chocolate better. But I do like the Nestle's recipe, so that's why I have the recipe for the Nestle's cookies on my iPad. So I'll be reading that off and using the Hershey's chocolate chip morsels. So the first thing we're going to do is start by mixing our dry ingredients. And we're going to use whole wheat flour. So we're going to start with 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose wheat flour. I'm going to mix that in a bowl separately. So we'll go ahead and measure that out. I got my butter knife here for leveling it off. And I need a little bit more, so I'll add a little bit more. And then we'll just level it off with the back of our butter knife. Like so. We'll add that right to our mixing bowl. That's 1 cup. Measure out another cup. And we got our 1/2 cup here. So that's 2 1/2 cups. Level it right off. So now our flour is all set. So now it calls for 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So we've got baking soda right here. Actually calls for 1 teaspoon, so I'm going to go with the teaspoon. Right in. I'm going to level it off. I got a little bowl here to catch the excess. How you doing, Nate Johnson? Okay, our next ingredient is salt, and it's 1 tablespoon also. So we'll go ahead and measure that out. We'll add that right to our dry mixture. So we're going to double check and make sure there's no other dry ingredients. Flour, baking soda, salt in a small bowl. And we're going to put that off to the side. Now we're going to preheat our oven. So when we're ready to make the cookies, it'll be all set. And the temperature is 375. So we're going to go to bake. 375. And start and let the oven start preheating. And now we can move on to our other ingredients. So we're going to start with our granulated sugar, which we have right here, our white sugar. And that calls for 3/4 of a cup. So we'll just pour it right in a measuring cup. And I got a large clump of sugar in there, so I was going to break that down. And that looks like a little too much, so go ahead and take some out. And that looks good right there. Maybe a little more. Scoop a little bit out. And that's good right there. We'll add that right to our mixer bowl. And the next ingredient will be our brown sugar. And the brown sugar also calls for 3/4 of a cup. So the White Pack, I'd like to say hi to you. Thank you for joining the chat. So we got our brown sugar right here. We're going with the light brown sugar. I think I'm going to use these for this because of the way the brown sugar packs. I got a 1/2 cup. We'll use a 1/2 and a 1/4, which will give us our 3/4. So there's a 1/2 right there. We'll add that right to our mixer bowl. And now we'll go with the 1/4. We got our 1/4 cup right here. We'll add that to the mixer bowl. Give us our 3/4. So we're done with the sugar. We're done with the brown sugar. We can put that off to the side. And we're done with the salt and the baking soda. So now we're going to add the vanilla extract, which we have right here. And it calls for 1 teaspoon. So we'll go ahead and pour that right into our teaspoon, right into our teaspoon. And we'll add that right to our mixing bowl. We're done with that. We can put that off to the side also. And now it says to mix all the ingredients together. So we'll put our mixer down. We'll lock it into place. And we'll blend all the ingredients together. Everything seems to be blended nicely. So now it says we're going to add, it says to use 2 large eggs, which I didn't have. I only had medium eggs, so I'm going to use 3 medium eggs. And it says to add them one at a time and mix them individually. So we're going to crack one in a bowl at a time, pour it in, and then add another, and so on. Dave? So I'm going to crack the first egg now. And I'm going to add the first egg and mix it in. And that first egg is all mixed in. Ryan Mello, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. And yes, it is cookie time. So now we're gonna crack our second egg. Got it right here, add it to the bowl. Always add it to the bowl first to make sure you don't get any shells. And we got no shells. So we'll add that that right to the mixer. Let the second egg blend in. Hi, baby. Thank you for joining me, honey. I seen your message this time. I love you too. Okay, so now we're going to add our third egg. And we added our third egg. And we mixed that in. So now what we're going to do is we're gradually going to mix in our flour mix and blend that in. So we'll go slow. Forgot an ingredient, the butter. Thankfully my mom's here to rescue me. So we're gonna add the butter in too. And it's 2 cups of butter, so we're gonna use 2 whole sticks. We'll add that right in. Then we'll continue to add our mixture, our dry ingredients. So now we've got all our ingredients mixed up. It calls for almost this whole bag of morsels, which is 11, it calls for 10 ounces of morsels. And this is 11.5 ounces in this bag of Hershey's. So I'm just going to take a little bit out, and that'll be fine. I'll just leave a little left remaining in the bag. So I'm going to turn the mixer back on and start adding the morsels. And our oven just beeped, so it's ready. So I left a little bit of morsels remaining at the bottom of the bag. And I let that mix in. So now I'm going to raise the mixer head. Got to unlock it first. I'm going to scrape down our batter, which looks really good. From the mixer. Thank you, honey. I'm glad you think I'm doing a good job. I will bring some cookies home. So now I'm going to remove the bowl from the mixer and bring it right over to my 2 baking sheets, which I've lined with parchment paper for easy cleanup. and it cooks fine on the parchment paper. So that's a good little trick. So I got a good sized spoon. I'm gonna put little balls like that right in the parchment paper. They don't have to be perfect, just like that. Adding them right to the cookie sheet. And that one's a little bit small, so I'm going to add a little bit more batter. A little bit more dough, whatever you want to call it. And this really looks good enough to eat right now, just the way it is, but I won't. But there are some people that do eat this uncooked. I've seen them do it. They roll it right up and just chow it down. So I got one baking sheet done. Now I can start on my second one. This is so much better than buying them already in that tube in the refrigerated section at the supermarket. Using all fresh ingredients. So we're just continuing adding them to our baking sheet. I am making the cookies a little on the bigger side, so forgive me if they kind of blend into one another. And the reason for the variation in the chocolate chips not being the same is because, like I said, we used a Nestle's recipe with Hershey's chocolate chips, so that's why there was a variation in the weights in the bags. Okay, now we got all our cookies laid out on the parchment paper. So I did my second one. But I'm thinking maybe I should take a little bit of dough off each one. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna do that. I went a little big on these. I'm just gonna slim down on a couple of them that I think are too big. That should be fine. Okay. So now it says to bake for 9 to 11 minutes in the center rack. I'm going to put them right in the oven. And we'll set our timer for 9 minutes. And I'm going to scrape down all the batter that's remaining for my second batch, which is only going to be a few cookies because it's almost all gone, as you can see. And this is what we ended up with left in the recipe. So put that off to the side. Now we can just clean up a little bit. Some batter right here, so we'll save that. Unplug the mixer before I take this off. Don't want to have any accidents. You can add this right to the sink. So now it's just waiting for our chocolate chip cookies to cook. Dropped a little bit of batter. gonna turn the oven light on so we can take a look in there. And they're already starting to form into cookies. Just lost a person. Let me get my water. So how's everybody doing today? Just wanna, anybody wants to share some of their baking comments or anything they want to talk about, it's fine because we got a little bit of time while the cookies are cooking, so we're just gonna wait. So feel free to send a comment. My son and I actually planned this out last week. We had bought most of the ingredients. We went to the store and we decided we're gonna make cookies, and we just needed a few last minute things. We went today, we got the flour. We actually didn't have the flour because we like to use the whole wheat flour. You can use the white, it's fine, whatever you want, but we just choose to use the whole wheat, unbleached, which is right here. I'll show you. It doesn't matter what brand you use, but it's definitely better for you to use the whole wheat. Greg Olson, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Do you like chocolate chip cookies? Hope so. Okay, Chipito, I'll bring you a cookie. I can see the cookies from where I'm sitting right here, and they're already starting to look really good. The timer says 3 minutes, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer because I made them kind of big, so we'll see. You still out there, Ryan Mello? Oh, starting to smell them now. That's a good sign. And the timer just beat 1 minute, so as soon as it goes off, we'll go over and just check out the cookies and see how they're coming along. But like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit longer. I think for my next video, I'm probably going to be cooking some either muffins or possibly I'm going to try to cook a lasagna if I have time. Make the sauce and cook the lasagna. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but I'm not promising anything, but it's something I do want to do. So I have to buy a few more ingredients. and we'll try to get it done. The buzzer's beeping right now. That's 9 minutes. We're gonna go take a look at the cookies to see how they're starting to come along. And they're coming along fine. I'm gonna add a couple more minutes to the timer. We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll take a peek again. And they are big cookies because they're almost touching one another. In some spots they are touching one another. So, but they are. It's not one big cookie. So, thankfully that didn't happen. And like I always say, it's so much better to bake the stuff at home yourself, learn how to do it, and you have the ingredients. If you have some left over, you can make another batch later on. But it's good to learn how to do these things rather than going buying packaged cookies. To me, there's no comparison. You want something fresh, something good. It's better than going to the store and buying a package of Oreos or a package of Toll House cookies that are, who knows what's in them. Honestly, so it is good to learn. So I'm gonna go check the cookies one more time because another 2 minutes is up. And I think the sheet pan on the right is done, so I'm gonna pull it out and take a look at it. Give it 1 minute. Then I'm going to pull the cookie pan on the right out and let that cool. It's a little bit of a darker sheet pan, so I'm thinking that's why it's cooking a little bit faster than the one on the left. So like I said, we'll let it go for 1 minute. We'll pull that out. We've got about 20 seconds left. We're going to pull them out. It says to cool to a wire rack, which I don't have a wire rack, so I'm going to pull the parchment paper off the cookie sheet to stop the cooking and let it cool on the counter. And that's our 1 minute. Turning off the timer. Pulling the cookies out. Now remove the parchment paper. Let our cookies cool. I'm going to move the hot pan out of the way. Now I'm going to check the other side. And they're not ready yet, so we're going to give those another 2 minutes. separate my cookies right to a dish. And there's some cookies right there. Well, I gotta stay with these. Now I'm gonna second batch is almost finished. When the timer goes off, we're gonna give it another inspection. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I appreciate it. Without you guys, you guys make this possible, and I appreciate your comments. And please subscribe to my son's channel. The time is just about ready to go off. And I think these are ready. Pull them out. Take a look. Yep, we're gonna let these cool. Move this over. I'm gonna pull the parchment paper out. To stop the cooking and let them cool for a little while. And then I'll pull those off and put them in a plate. Move the hot plate away, hot pan away. Go ahead and start with our last batch. Start scooping out the batter. Only gonna have enough dough for about 6 cookies, but that's fine. So altogether we got 30 cookies out of the recipe, which I think is good. And this last cookie is going to be a big one. middle rack. Set our timer. For 12 minutes, 11 minutes. And we'll check them out in 11 minutes. So I know now that 9 minutes was not enough. I'm going to go ahead and plate my second dozen of cookies. And you can notice the difference in how they cooked. From the light cookie pan to the dark cookie pan. Depending on how you like your cookies, you can see the difference in how they cooked. I think the light cookie pan offered more of a even cook all the way through, where the darker pan was more like a soft batch cookie. Just seems a little bit different, but they both look fine. I'm going to move the cookies over onto the table. Now we're just going to wait for our last 6 cookies to cook. I want to thank my mom for rescuing me with the butter that I forgot. She helped me out a lot in this video. I had it right there too, and I just, things happen when you're baking, when you're cooking. It's never going to be perfect. Sometimes you might forget something. It doesn't matter how often you do this stuff. But mistakes can happen. So we got about 8 minutes left. Dave, you want to try that again, please? A nice glass of milk ready. As soon as our cookies are finished, we're gonna have a nice taste of my cookies and milk. think they came out really nice. So how's everybody doing? And I can see from here the cookies are already starting to spread out. They're starting to take form. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try one of these cookies now. I can't wait. So. Extremely delicious. I'm gonna try one from the second batch. Delicious. Plenty of chocolate chips, great consistency, good color. I'm very happy with the way they came out. Excellent. We got 4 minutes left on the timer for our second batch. If you're just joining us, we're making chocolate chip cookies, and we're just about done. We made 2 dozens, and we had 6 additional cookies that we didn't have room for on the cookie sheet. They're baking right now. So. Wow. As always, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. I really enjoy doing this, making these videos, and my son is the one who actually does the camera work for me, and he does a great job, and I want to thank him. So. Tell him. And his channel just broke 800 subscribers, which is very exciting, and I want to thank everybody for that, and I appreciate it very much. So we hope to get a lot more subscribers and viewers, and thank everybody. Thank you for making this possible. We appreciate it. Our third batch of cookies has 2 minutes left on it. When it gets down to 1 minute, I'm going to walk over and just double check it and make sure everything's coming out all right. And we're down to 1 minute. Timer just beeped. I'm gonna stay by the oven now. Dave? So there's a half minute left, but I can tell they're not ready yet, so I'm gonna, as soon as it beeps, I'm gonna add 2 more minutes, and we'll go from there. So we added 2 more minutes. And we'll check it after that and see how everything's coming along.
What's that? A Cookie Monster. Monster. I thought it was the Cookie Monster.
Thank you very much for the subscriber that just joined. I appreciate that. So we got about 30 seconds left on our third batch. As soon as that beeps, we'll go and check it out. And the oven is beeping, so I'm going to step over and check it out. Dave? So 1 more minute. And that's it. I'll pull it out after this minute. I'm going to stay right by the oven. We'll let that last batch cool, and then we'll plate them. I'm going to set up an image of everything that I used today. Timer just beeped. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cookies out of the oven. pull the parchment paper right off to stop the cooking. Move the hot baking sheet away. Go ahead and let those cool. And also, I never mentioned it, but if you like nuts, like walnuts, you could also have added walnuts to this recipe. What you would do is at the end, when I was mixing up in the dry ingredients, after I was done mixing the dry ingredients, when I added the chocolate chip morsels, you would add 1 cup of chopped walnuts, or whatever nuts that you like. You would have just added that right to the mixer and mix that right up. I do like nuts, sometimes I will use them, but today I didn't. But that's something that you could always do. If you don't want to use a whole cup, you could use a half cup, whatever you want to do. So. I'm going to go ahead and place my last batch on a plate. Show you how that came out. Dave, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. I appreciate it, and I already did. I did it earlier. Yeah, I did it. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. I've laid out all the ingredients that I used today. If you want to take a visual picture of them, I'm going to have my son turn the camera to all the ingredients over here to show them all the ingredients that I used. I used the whole wheat flour, but you can always use the white, whatever you prefer. I used Domino sugar. I used a store brand light brown sugar. I used Morton's iodized salt, vanilla extract that I got from the grocery store. I'm not sure what store I got it from, but it doesn't matter. I used 3 eggs because I didn't have large eggs, so I had medium, so I used 3 instead of 2 mediums. I substituted it with 3 large eggs, and I used butter, but I used 2 sticks. I just want to show you that I used butter. And of course, we used the Hershey's morsels, milk chocolate. And this was a parchment paper that I laid out on the cookie sheets, so it will be for easy cleanup. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good day.